but it is Jaxson Dart, the former USC quarterback, that he will be headed to Ole Miss. A good get for Lane Kiffin. And I think we discussed some of this a little bit on either Wednesday or Thursday, looking ahead to Dart's decision, what it might mean for Caleb Williams. But now that the news is official, what is the rest of that sort of Ole Miss picture starting to come together looking like to y'all?
Well, I think Jaxson Dart is really, really talented. And Lane Kiffin's offense is an offense that it involves a lot of really easy throws, but you can also unlock it more. Like if you have a big time arm, like I think Matt Corral has a legitimate arm. And it was fun to see them, push the ball down the field. I think Jaxson Dart, both athletically and arm talent wise, has the tools to do a lot of the same things there. So I would really not expect them from the QB position to miss a beat.
Yeah, I think Matt Corral and Jaxson Dart have a lot in common from just size, ability, skill, what they excel at, what they're better at, where they're weak. And I think that for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, I'm not going to say he's going to step right in and just do the same things Matt Corral did, but I don't think you have to change things up very much offensively going from Matt Corral to Jaxson Dart. I think Ole Miss's offense is going to look very similar to what we've seen in the last few years. And I think that if you're the Rebels and you're still trying to compete in the SEC West where life does not get any easier, this is a nice little way of transitioning to make sure that you can kind of keep pace with where you're at.
This is why you bring in Lane Kiffin to
Right?
Ole Miss. Yeah, I mean, this is why you do it. He can recruit. He can crush it out there. I mean, he's out there, working social media over. He's on his private jet posting pictures from everywhere. Again, this is what, the college football coaching industry is about talent acquisition. He is acquiring talent right now, and it's led to this, number one class in the transfer portal. I do think it's interesting, though, because I agree with the talent aspect, like the talent's there. I'm just curious to know if the offense looks much different with Jeff Lebby gone and Charlie Weiss Jr. is only 28, who we did have with him at FAU, and I actually covered him when he was there. It was a little bit more of a hand-holding thing. Is Lane Kiffin just going to hand over the reins the same way he did with Lebby? Is it the same offense? Like, is it the same, similar, exact same concepts? What's it going to look like? And he's got to replace his defensive coordinator. All these pieces that are coming in are going to help in this package deal. Who's he have coming in with him? He's got this Jaxson Dart package deal. I think was probably even.
He has Michael Trigg with him.
Michael Trigg,
the tight end out of Tampa.
So I think that makes it even more interesting. The fact that you got a 2-for-1 special here makes it even that much more appealing.
I will say though, for Lane, because he tweeted out that graphic of him as the Tiger King with the transfer portal king or whatever. Yeah. I would just point out, Lane, the Tiger King was just sentenced to 21 years in prison.
Right.
So
it
might not be the best karma putting your face on that guy.
But don't you feel like Ole Miss is one of those programs who's perfect for the NIL era? They've already got the Grove Collective. They've always pushed the envelope, and now they're like, we can do this. We can do this above board. Oh, let's go. It just feels like this is a match made in heaven with this school, with Lane Kiffin in this era. And Lane was one of the first guys to come out and admit, hey, it's free agency. It's on there. Guys are wanting to go wherever they can get the highest value, and he's taking advantage of it.
Yeah, Ole Miss and NIL, and then vodka and training facilities. That's what Texas got that money for, right?
Yeah.
Was that it? Does Lane Kiffin become automatically someone who is on the path, especially in the transfer portal era, that we can start looking at? Anytime there's a big quarterback on the board, it's like, oh, could go to Ole Miss, could go with Lane. Has he hit that status that Lincoln Riley had, where it was just like automatically was going to be a spot? Jalen Hurts is going to transfer out of Alabama. It's like, well, if you go to Oklahoma, then you're going to step in, you're going to be able to put up numbers, and you're going to be able to have positive results. We've got a smaller sample size right now, and certainly not the number one pick over number one pick. But if Jaxson Dart is successful on the back, right after Matt Corral, do we start to look at Lane as sort of that option anytime a quarterback decides to seek pastures elsewhere?
I think that if you're QB looking for a new home, there are definitely worse options than Lane Kiffin. I think that he's got to be, I don't know if I would call him number 2, but I definitely think he's probably in that top 10, top 5 kind of area for where you're looking for somebody who has that kind of history of developing quarterbacks and at least making quarterback look good in a quarterback friendly offense, which will allow you to put up numbers. I still think obviously Lincoln's going to be number 1 in that target. And I don't know, maybe to allude to something we'll talk about later, maybe Paul Chryst is number 2 now in that list of places that quarterbacks want to play for.
I mean, I don't know. I think so. It's obviously going to be an offense that will put up big time numbers, and I'm curious as to what they run. To Danny's point, they had a guy who we saw a lot of in the NFL playoffs named Devin Singletary there the last time that Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. were paired up, and they very smartly used him a lot at FAU. I mean, it wasn't uncommon to see him get 20 plus carries a game. They don't really have that guy at Ole Miss, or certainly somebody who is likely to dominate the SEC, like Singletary was that league. But I have to imagine this is more Lane Kiffin hands-on with the offense, whereas Levy, not that Lane wasn't hands-on before, but Levy's much more of a proven commodity as a play caller than Charlie Weiss Jr.'s been.